I'll be honest, I failed. After living in Austin for over 12 years and helping clients buy and sell all across the city, I've definitely realized that I made some mistakes. And if I were moving here today, I'd do things completely differently. So in this video, I'm breaking down 3 areas that I'd seriously consider moving to in Austin if I were to make the move today. And for this video, I even did a ChatGPT deep research into Reddit to see what the locals are saying in each of these areas, and the results might shock you. One of the areas is an area, in full disclosure, that me and my family are actually searching in to potentially buy a house. All right, so we're kicking it off with none other than the 78704 zip code. Now, if you've ever seen photos, videos of people paddleboarding, kayaking on Lady Bird Lake, or maybe bar hopping to listen to some of the best live music in Austin, there's a good chance it's happening in 78704, or as people here call it, the 04. Now let's take a look on the map so I can show you the boundaries of where 78704 is. So we're going to draw a little shape around here. So pretty much you're looking at the southern boundary of 290, goes along I-35, then along Lady Bird Lake over here, and then this is all greenbelt over here along the western side of 78704. I don't want to say the western cutoff is Mopac because there's kind of a little sliver over here that's part of the 78746 zip code, which is what you would consider Westlake, so very different vibe over there. But this is all kind of separated by greenbelt, and more specifically the Barton Creek greenbelt. So here you have 78704. What you notice, super close to downtown. Now, I mentioned that get a deep dive into Reddit, and while some of the things you hear might be common sense if you know anything about these neighborhoods, others are pretty detailed, and I'm going to unpack a lot of what people wrote about these different areas. So when you look at 78704, someone said, 7704 neighborhood, highly recommend South Lamar, Galindo, Dawson, Bolden Creek, or SoCo. I feel very safe when I lived in that zip code, never had any issues. Lots to unpack. Right there, I'm going to give you my personal opinion on a lot of that. So a couple of those neighborhoods they mentioned, when you look at 78704, getting a lay of the land, and if you're searching for homes in this area, it's very important to know that south of Oltorf Street, which is right here, is going to yield a little bit lower of a premium than north of Oltorf. And you get a lot of a very different neighborhood feel when you're north and south of that as well. So let's start with a couple of those neighborhoods mentioned in that Reddit post, which were South Lamar, which is going to be this area kind of east of South Lamar Boulevard, south of Oltorf. So this is a really cool pocket in here. Depending on where you are, there's some great terrain, actually, lots of greenery. There's different trails and stuff that you can kind of walk to in here, and easy access to over here in the Zilker neighborhood, which we're going to get to in just a second. But one important thing to note is part of this little pocket, I actually had a call with someone from our YouTube that watches our YouTube channel that reached out, and that's what happens. We always encourage you to reach out to our team. When you've watched our channel, you understand kind of the way we work, you understand our knowledge base in the different areas of Austin. Reach out and we'll go through to help cater your search. Well, we had discussion. They want to be close to the action, but they kind of might want to leave the option open for being in a good school district, and it can be mixed over in this area. Well, there's a little pocket over in the South Lamar area that's actually still zoned to Zilker Elementary, which is one of the top schools in all of Austin ISD. So little tidbits like that help you understand, like you could still get into the area you want, but have best of both worlds, convenience and good schools if you choose to send your kids to public school. So we had South Lamar. Galindo is another one over here that is going to be south of Oltorf and west of South First Street. And then if you move east of South First Street, you have Dawson. So in that post, those are some of the neighborhoods that that person was referring to, all areas south of Oltorf where you'll get a little bit more for your money. In this area, you're finding a lot of older homes maybe built in the 40s, 50s, 60s, or you see a lot of homes that, maybe they're old teardowns, they were scraped, the lot was scraped, and a new build, whether it was a single family home, or you see a lot of builders doing these AB or Unit 1, Unit 2 setups, depending on the lot. So some new construction or fairly new construction in this area, a lot of that. And one of the great things is one of my favorite spots down in this area off of South Congress, over near Pickle Road right here, there's a spot called Cosmic Coffee, and it's a full bar. They've got a coffee shop, food trucks out there. It's one of the places I was actually just there a few days ago taking a work call and drinking coffee. They have beautiful outdoor area. They've got chickens. If you have kids, definitely bring them there. They like to see the chickens, but the 78704 entertainment really stretches all the way south to where 290 is. So it's not like you're giving up a ton when it comes to the being close to entertainment just by being south. So a great option if your budget allows for you to be over here. Now let's take a step further. The next post said, in 7704, I love being close to downtown and walking distance to places on South Lamar and South First Street. So this person is likely referring to being north of Old Torf, and there's 3 major neighborhoods that you need to know about. So you've got Travis Heights here, which is going to be east of South Congress, which is this road right here. Travis Heights, beautiful craftsman style homes, tons of oak trees. This is one of those places you're always going to see people walking their dogs out, maybe walking kids. There's Big Stacy Park, Little Stacy Park, lots of trails throughout. You see Blund Creek kind of runs through Travis Heights over here. Probably one of, hands down, my favorite neighborhoods. And actually, when I moved to Austin, rented an apartment right over here at East Riverside and South Congress. So great neighborhood in Travis Heights. Then if you move a little bit west, you get to Bolden Creek. This is going to be west of South First Street and east of South Lamar. So this little pocket over here, similar vibe to Travis Heights, maybe a little bit less heavy on the giant oak trees, although you will get some of those still in that area. And then lastly, probably one of the most desirable neighborhoods in all of 78704 is the Zilker neighborhood. I mentioned earlier about the schools. Zilker Elementary is rated one of the highest rated schools in all of Austin ISD. So when people move to this area, if they want to send their kids to public school, not private, and their budget allows it, they will land in the Zilker neighborhood. Now, Barton Hills is just south of that. This is going to be a much hillier terrain, or more hillier. I don't know if hillier is a word, but you get the point. Lots of hills, lots of trees. This is kind of hit or miss depending on where your house is located. You might have a lot of usable lot space, or you might not. Barton Hills Elementary is also a very highly rated school. So being in this pocket west of South Lamar, really, it's hard to go wrong over there. Now I'm going to get to what you can expect, average price point, and something that if you're buying in this area, you need to be searching for, because not all the homes that are available are public view, are homes that you're going to see in your search. So I'll get to that in just a second. Now, before I get into all of the things that people do if they live in 78704 zip code, I mentioned in that Reddit comment, someone said something about that they feel very safe and have never had any issues. Well, here's something you need to understand. You are very close to downtown Austin. We've seen the homeless population grow here pretty drastically, especially over the last few years. And what we notice is, aside from downtown, a lot of that population has kind of migrated closer to that 290, to the highway that is the south border of 78704. Under those bridges, you find a lot of homeless people, and it is what it is. Like, it's something that when you drive around there, when you walk around there, you see it. They're also, the green belts are a place where a lot of them congregate, and then they'll come out at certain times of the day. And you really got to understand, you're moving close to a city, a growing city. Crime is not going to be non-existent. It's going to be there. We see probably the most of the type of crime we see is kind of petty theft, car burglaries, that kind of stuff. So if you're moving to this area, highly recommend do your own due diligence, check into crime statistics, see if what you're concerned about is happening in this area, and then take the necessary precautions, security cameras, security systems, all that kind of stuff. But I definitely always tread lightly when people ask, is an area safe? It's all relative. So again, do your own due diligence on that, but know that you're moving close to the city center, so you are going to have some of that around you. So some of the highlights of living in 78704, you are so close to Barton Springs, a spring-fed pool, natural pool, stays around 64, 65 degrees year-round. Such a good time. Zilker Park, obviously it's an open park, and they do big events there like Austin City Limits, the Trail of Lights, lots of fun stuff. We love taking our kids there. They just walk around, and we'll tell them, we don't have a dog personally right now, so they'll just go around and ask everyone if they could pet their dog, and that's like a huge highlight of their day. There's sand volleyball courts over there. There's disc golf. There's lots to do at Zilker Park. Beyond that, the Lady Bird Lake Hike and Bike Trail is just minutes away. So if you like to be active, at any time you go there, there's people walking, running, riding bikes, exercising on Lady Bird Lake Hike and Bike Trail. And it is a beautiful 10-mile trail around the lake downtown. It's just a great way to be outdoors, and it's right there in your backyard in 78704. And then of course, you have to mention the walkability to restaurants, bars, entertainment, things to do. In 78704, I'll give you a few of my favorites. Matt's El Rancho is at the top of my list. This is like a classic Austin staple. You got to go there. The margaritas are great if you drink. The Bob Armstrong dip is their queso. That will change your life. So we spend a lot of time in 78704 because we go to Matt's El Rancho quite a lot, maybe too much. But if you go to South Congress, up and down South Congress, Home Slice, Abba is a great Mediterranean restaurant. Across the street is Perla's. Honestly, the list goes on as far as like what there is to eat, drink, listen to music, but that's why people move to 78704 for the true Austin vibe and being close to all of that right in their backyard. But it's not all good. Let me read this Reddit comment. It says, as amazing as the lifestyle is, my family needs more space and easier parking. So for us, it just doesn't make sense to pay over $1 million for a smaller home and a tiny yard. But if you are young, single, or downsizing, this is Austin living at its best. So take that for what it's worth. So far in 2025, we're looking at an average sold price of $1.35 million in the 78704 zip code. Now there's a little asterisk that goes there because in this zip code, there are a lot of homes that sell off market. Our team has access to a few off-market sites, and that is where the bulk of these homes, especially the ones over 1.5 million, those are going to be listed off-market. You won't see those in MLS data, and all the numbers I'm sharing with you today are strictly from the MLS. So keep that in mind. If you're searching in these areas, do not do it on your own. Find an agent that knows what they're doing. If that's us, we'd love to, but make sure they have off-market access or you might be missing out on some of the best options. So for me personally, I kind of agree with that last comment, which is the reason why I don't live in 78704 and why it's not the best for me and for my family at this point in my life. At one point, yes. Again, I told you I rented right in that area, in that zip code when I first moved here. So now it's up to you to decide if 78704 is the right zip code for you. All right, now before we hit area number 2, I do want to remind you that we have an Austin relocation guide we created for people like you that watch our videos that want to know a little bit more about the city before you make the move here. So I'll put a QR code up on the screen right here. Definitely check that out as a free resource, a free guide for you. And we love to hear your feedback. If it's been helpful to you, that's what it's there for. So definitely check that out. But we're now going to make our way up 25 minutes north of Austin to an area known as Round Rock. Now, if you've ever heard anything about Austin and the surrounding suburbs in Austin, you've probably heard about Round Rock, but this is number 2 on my list of if I were to move to Austin today, this is where I would consider buying. Now, I do want to point out this map, when you just type in Round Rock in Google, it shows most of Round Rock, but doesn't include all of Round Rock. And more importantly, it doesn't include the area of Round Rock that I would probably move to if I moved up there. And that is this whole Brushy Creek area. Now, if you type in Brushy Creek into Google Maps, it's probably going to do its own outline over there, which is why it might not consider Round Rock. But if you move into the Brushy Creek area over here, you are in a Round Rock address. You do go to Round Rock schools. So just be aware of that. And yes, look over here. You see a Round Rock. And as you can see, it's known for its outdoor activities and historic sites. The Round Rock, a large stone in Brushy Creek, marks the site where the wagons made low water crossings in the 19th century. So yes, there actually is a Round Rock, and that's why it was named that. But, I feel like this area packs so much into one city, and it really does check so many boxes depending on the lifestyle you're looking for. So I think this is going to be a strong consideration if you're watching this video and thinking about making the move to Austin. So again, I'm going to zoom out a little so you can get a lay of the land. I told you about 25 minutes north of downtown Austin. So a couple ways you can get here. You could take Mopac, which is Loop 1, all the way to 45, or you could take I-35. If you've ever watched any of my videos, you know there's one I prefer over the other. Mopac is way easier to deal with and usually way less traffic, although it can be bad at times, than I-35. This little intersection, I-35 and 45, can be absolutely horrendous. Cars just stop there, it seems like, at all times of the day. So definitely avoid that. I'm going to show you kind of what you get, the feel in some of the different pockets of Round Rock. Now, before we get into the map to look at the areas and neighborhoods of Round Rock, there's so much to do up here, like I told you. So we're going to start with Old Settlers Park, which is right here. It's kind of the iconic park. If your kids play sports, if they play softball, baseball, soccer, you are likely spending time on the weekends or weekdays at Old Settlers Park. Currently right now, they've got a pumpkin festival, a fall festival going on. So this is kind of like the hub of the city when it comes to outdoor events, being outdoors, getting the community together. So I would definitely consider maybe base your move close, somewhat close in proximity to Old Settlers Park if you think you're going to be spending a lot of time there. Now, here's another cool thing. Up on Highway 79, you got Kalahari Resort. Kalahari is it's an indoor water park. We took my daughter there for her birthday a couple years ago, and it ain't cheap, but it is a great time. Fully indoors. There is an outdoor section as well, but it allows you to go all times of the year to enjoy that. And it's really cool that it's up in Round Rock. And then right across the street from that, if I were to move to this area, this is something that I would probably go to all the time. I used to be a baseball player, is Dell Diamond right here. So Dell Diamond is where the Round Rock Express play. The farm team, it switches off every few years between the Rangers and the Astros, but it's a AAA team. So depending on when you go, and if you have a player that's like rehabbing to get back into the majors or one of the stud prospects, you can go there and watch them AAA at the Round Rock Express. So just a couple things there right off the bat. Another thing I'm going to show you is the Play for All Abilities Park. Now, wherever you live in Austin, whether it's you land in Round Rock or even somewhere down south, take the time if you have kids to go to this area. So Play for All Abilities Park is right here. And it is probably one of the best like parks. I'm going to show you in the satellite view so we can kind of see. So it's got a little racetrack right here. So kids bring their scooters, bring their bikes, they can do the racetrack. Then they built this little town right here. It's like a fake town. There's an H-E-B, a Chick-fil-A, a car wash that they can ride their bikes through. And then all of this is just playground area, jungle gyms, swings. They have a zip line, so many different things to do out at the Play for All Abilities Park. So one other thing, I believe there's over 30 public parks in Round Rock alone. So it is very nature centric, and you get a lot of neighborhoods. There are some newer neighborhoods where you're going to find less trees, less established feel, but you also get so many green areas. Trails are a big part of living in Round Rock. I feel like everywhere you turn, there's playgrounds, there's greenbelt trails, things to do outside if you are a nature lover. So it's a great option. When you hear the price point that I'm going to share you in just a second, the average price so far this year, it's a great alternative if you want to be a little bit outside of the city, but still have lots to do. So I kind of want to show you, aside from specific things to do, proximity. So what is it close to? Well, again, here's Round Rock. The Highway 79 leads to the 130 toll road, and Highway 45 leads to the 130 toll road. This is along the east side of Austin and kind of circumvents. If you need to get downtown or to the airport, you take 130 all the way down here and jump onto 290, and you can get downtown. So easy access to that. And then if you work at any of the tech companies, Dell is in Round Rock. If you work at the Domain, super convenient. Up at Apple, Samsung, pretty much any of the big tech companies, if you live in Round Rock, you're convenient to them. So that is a huge draw for people who want all the things that I just mentioned and need convenience for their commute. I know I told you I'd break down some of the different neighborhoods. I'm not getting into all of them because that would take way too long, but some of the, I would say, popular areas that kind of give you a different vibe depending on what you're looking for in Round Rock. And then I'll share what the average price point is so far in 2025 so you have an idea of what it takes to get into the area. So we're going to start just north of 45 to Round Rock West. Now, this Round Rock West area is really cool. Older homes, you're looking at maybe 60s, 70s built. If you're along the creek over here or the Greenbelt, you can get some really nice homes that back to nothing, no neighbors behind. There's some great elevation. So in some cases, your house is way up here and then a pretty big drop to get down to the creek. So if that's something you're looking for, kind of being in that tree house feeling, maybe something old, mid-century that needs to be updated, something that has been updated, Round Rock West over here could be an area that you search in. One of my favorite neighborhoods in the area is Forest Creek. So Forest Creek, Lake Forest over here, and Forest Ridge are kind of all going to be included in what I'm considering a top area in Round Rock. Again, easy access to the 130 toll road. And then for me personally, this neighborhood feels kind of the most like the one I live in now when it comes to having amenities. Forest Creek has a golf course in it. You can get some beautiful in Lake Forest. A lot of those lots are much bigger, 0.4 or half an acre, much bigger homes, almost like more of an estate size feeling over in this Lake Forest area. And then you can get some of those up in Forest Ridge as well. So schools over here are also pretty highly rated. As a whole, Round Rock, you're looking at, it's known as a very good school district, highly regarded school district. Lots of schools rated in the 8, 9, and 10 out of 10 range in Round Rock. So definitely do your due diligence. We always take a look at greatschools.org, but one thing I recommend you to do, go drive these areas and talk to the neighbors, talk to the people who have kids in these schools and get their personal opinion. Always take those with a grain of salt. Maybe ask a few to get a few different perspectives, because you never know if you're asking the wrong person. But Forest Creek, Lake Forest, Forest Ridge, can't go wrong in that any of those neighborhoods. Now, a couple more I'm going to show you. One is up here, Paloma Lake. As you can see, there's a little lake in the middle of the neighborhood. These you're gonna find some newer homes if that's what you're looking for. Something that is not as old like in Round Rock West, maybe something a little bit more established. From a tree standpoint, you're not getting that established, mature tree feeling like you do in Forest Creek. So definitely drive these areas, get a feel for yourself. But I know I mentioned moving to Forest Creek if I were to live in Round Rock, but this is also another pocket that I would probably consider. And it's the area that at the beginning of this segment, when I showed you Round Rock, it wasn't even included, but it's Brushy Creek right here. So got friends, got clients that live up in Brushy Creek. All of them love it. You can see all the greenery here. So if we go to the satellite view, you'll see lots of greenery. There's some green belts over here. One of my favorite roads in the whole neighborhood. I'm a little immature, Hairy Man Road. Yes, that is the name of this road in Brushy Creek, but you see a lot of green belts, and then it's like neighborhood pools, neighborhood playgrounds galore in this area. So schools, again, also very highly rated, like you'll see over in Forest Creek. So if you want more of that established neighborhood, HOA lifestyle, pools, amenities, all of that in your backyard, and Brushy Creek is a good area to take a look at. Now, so far in 2025, the average price point is $490,000 for Round Rock. And some of the areas I showed you, you can get stuff under that, and you could definitely go above that. So by moving into Round Rock, you're probably looking at a strong resale market for most neighborhoods, excellent amenities, highly rated schools throughout most of the district. Now, someone on Reddit said it pretty well that kind of resonated with me, and one of the reasons why I'm not specifically moving to Round Rock. It says it's a great place to live, safe and diverse, although the traffic is getting worse, especially I-35. With as much driving I'm doing for showings across and around town, Round Rock doesn't make the most sense, but it does check a lot of boxes when it comes to the type of area with amenities, with things to do outdoors, and somewhat good proximity to downtown, although I do like being a little bit closer if I'm going to be in a suburb up north. So while Round Rock isn't the perfect landing spot for me and for my family, it might be for yours. All right, before we hit area number 3 that I would consider moving to if I were to move to Austin today, I do want to remind you that we made a video breaking down pretty much, we ranked all of the suburbs in Austin. So I'll link that video over here at the top of the screen. So definitely check that out when you finish watching this. If you kind of want to know where the suburbs that you're considering fall in my personal rankings. But now we're heading out west to an area that has the nickname the Gateway to the Hill Country. And if you want kind of a slower pace, more hill country vibe, a little bit more space, well, you're going to land in Dripping Springs. All right, so to give you a lay of the land of where Dripping Springs is, I'm going to share all the reasons why not only is it somewhere I'd consider moving, my family is considering moving there right now. We are looking for the right option, something a little bit specific, but it's definitely an area on our radar. So I'll give you all the personal reasons as we get into it. So we're heading west along 290 to an area called Dripping Springs. And right here, we're kind of, you see the bulk of the outlines. This is downtown Dripping Springs over here. And you can see there's some little pockets, but I kind of consider this entire area over here Dripping Springs. Now, one person on Reddit said, my coworker complains about their commute from Dripping Springs on a regular basis. They say it generally ranges from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on the day of the week and the time they leave. And that's a big pain point for people that are living out in Dripping Springs if you are commuting toward Austin or maybe even north of Austin. So I will caution you, probably don't want to live in Dripping Springs if you are working and will be commuting maybe 3 to 5 days a week on the northeast or even way northwest side of Austin, because as you can see, taking 290 right here is the main way to get out of Dripping Springs. Now, this is a huge construction zone right here on the map where this kind of Y's, the 71 Y's out, 290 Y's out. You see this says Oak Hill. It's known as the Y in Oak Hill. Huge construction project here, but it will be better from a commute standpoint once it's all done, because this is all going to be highway. There used to be lots of stoplights in between here, traffic lights that slow down the commute if you're coming from downtown out to Dripping Springs, but this will be all highway basically when you get to right around here past Circle Drive. So it's going to cut down on that commute big time, especially where there is a big traffic jam going in and out of Dripping Springs. You know, another person mentioned the area is under construction. This is a big choke point, makes rush hour commutes miserably long. 290 expansion is not done yet. It is still hell there. Well, it's hard to argue that. I've sat in that traffic many a time, whether it's during the workday when I'm out doing showings or if I'm taking my kids places in that area. I've been in it at all times and it is not fun, but it should improve. Now, when you're done watching this, I also encourage you to check out, I did a full Dripping Springs vlog where I went way more in depth than I will in this video and broke down some specific neighborhoods at different price points. In this video, I will share the average price points so far in 2025 and why people love living here. And one of the biggest things and reasons why I'm considering it and we spend a lot of time in Dripping Springs is all of the things to do outdoors there with my family. Now, again, told you it's the gateway to the hill country. It's one of those areas where, depending on the neighborhood, it's very hilly, lots of mature trees, lots of trails. And out here is kind of where where it's known for having all of the breweries, wineries, distilleries. So on any given weekend, you go out when the weather's nice. It's still been pretty toasty here, but especially in the fall and winter, you go out, kids have, acres and acres to play on at a brewery. You could sit, hang out, eat, drink, just have a good time while you're spending so much time outdoors among the cedar trees, among the oak trees, places like Fitzhugh Brewing, Jester King Brewing, Suds Monkey, the Deep Eddy Vodka Distillery. Now look, people move here and still end up in some of the master plan communities that maybe feel a little more cookie cutter from the standard of, if you want to move out there with a ton of land, you have that also. But if you want something a little bit more established with an HOA, you can get that. So a few of the popular neighborhoods, we got Belterra, which is right here. This is kind of the beginning of Dripping Springs. It's on the border. It actually has an Austin address, but many people consider it Dripping Springs. So Belterra is a beautiful master plan community, pools, playgrounds, trails. There's schools in the neighborhood, lots of restaurants, movie theater like right up here on 290. So that's a great option. I'll show you another one, Sunset Canyon, if you want a little bit more space just west of this. It's not highlighting for me, but this is the area over here off of Troutwine. So all of these are going to be much, let's see if we can get an idea. Not really, can't get an idea of the terrain over here. But if you want an acre plus, Sunset Canyon is a beautiful neighborhood over there. And then if you move a little bit further to the west, did a whole video talking about this neighborhood and some others. Headwaters over here. If you want new construction or something fairly new with great hills, beautiful resort style amenities. There's a school now in the neighborhood. Then Headwaters could be a great neighborhood for you. If you want to go a little bit deeper into Dripping Springs, you could head to Calaterra, a neighborhood off Ranch Road 12. You see a lot of greenery over here. This neighborhood kind of prides itself as like being one with nature. Another master plan community with lots of new construction options now. If you want to buy a resale home that's recently built, you can get that as well. So these are just a few of the options that you can find in Dripping Springs. And this is why we recommend for you to reach out to our team so we can kind of get what you're looking for, your budget, the lifestyle you're going for, and get an idea of which one might be good for you. Now, I want to share another quote on Reddit that said, "Been here 17 years. Most of the younger couples moving here have young kids and are coming for the schools. Lots of really good musicians out here. It's definitely getting way more crowded." So this is pretty in line with a lot of the families, I would say a lot of clients that we've helped move from Austin to Dripping Springs. They went there because their money went further. They didn't care as much about being right in the mix, right in the heart of downtown. And they saw all there was to do outside when it came to parks, entertainment, the breweries, like I mentioned before, out in Dripping Springs. And the commute wasn't that big of a deal. When you look at Dripping Springs schools from the standpoint of how are they compared to a lot of the school districts in Austin, Dripping Springs schools are very highly rated and one of the most desirable school districts in the Austin area. So while some of the neighborhoods that I mentioned to you can get under this, here's one of those barriers when it comes to areas of Austin and the boom we've seen over the past few years. In Dripping Springs, the average price went so far in 2025, $729,000. So you definitely need the budget to support moving out here. But again, we've helped clients get in here in the 400s to new neighborhoods as well, some with low tax rates, keeping those monthly payments low. So there's definitely options for you. So like I said, personally, I love the area, love being out here, showing homes to clients, love taking my family out there. We're all about good schools as well right now in this stage of our life. So this is a reason why we're strongly considering buying a house in Dripping Springs and moving a little bit further from the city from where we are now. All right, so there it is, 3 spots that I would consider moving to if I were to move to Austin. And none of them are perfect, but all 3 have great pros for moving to. And again, there's plenty other areas in Austin that you might consider home that could be a great fit for you. But these are 3 that I saw as amazing options for a lot of people and maybe even for you. And the thing about Austin, you truly can't have everything. You might be trading walkability for convenience or convenience for peace, like out in the hill country, depending on what lifestyle you're going after. If any of these areas resonated with you or you want to discuss other areas that might fit for your move here to Austin, definitely reach out to our team. We'd love to help you along the way. All of our contact info is at the bottom of the screen. We hope this video is helpful. We'll catch you on the next one.